One, we await your orders. You need but to ask it of us, and it shall be done.
The most enjoyable thing now might be taking over the world.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Griffin, that's Theta, and we're here to watch some Overlord. We're right in the middle of Season 2, and we're about to get Cocytus killing a whole bunch of lizards.
Cocytus.
Cocytus. One of those words.
No, specifically, yeah. Specifically one of them. Probably uttered by a guy whose camera's on the right-hand side of the screen.
Last time, we got the moment we've all been waiting for, where Ein steps out, shows off as much as possible, has a golem throw a giant block for him to set a throne on top of, climbs over a staircase of skeletons, all just to say, alright, all of you should give up.
Yeah, the best episode of the season. Good to know that's behind us.
Yep, it's only downhill from here. But Cocytus is still there,
Cocytus.
still has to... Cocytus. There you
keep
go.
saying that like Locutus. It's Cocytus.
He is Cocytus of Borg, okay? But Cocytus is there. He's going to fight the lizard person that we've been following this whole time. And that apparently is going to seal the deal where the lizards are going to go, okay, we submit to rule. I think that's all that they've told us is going to happen in the episode. You got any idea what happens in the rest of it?
I mean, I do, because we've seen it. We've both seen it.
You want to talk about it?
You know what I do want to talk about?
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
The Bound arc is the most well-written arc that you should never watch.
Really?
Yes.
Well, why is that?
I think, personally, I think that your fascination now just tells me you have no idea what I'm talking about.
No, I want to let you continue to talk, to tell me more about why it is so terrible for you.
No, it's the brilliance of the writing of Bleach. That the Bound arc is the best written arc that you should never watch. Specifically, what comes to mind is examples of, what would you call it? Stationary writing, hold position writing. I don't know what you call it. They're the best example of it being like the comics for the Star Trek series. Star Trek 2 comes out.
Oh.
Yeah, Star Trek 2 comes out. We have all of our characters left where they're left, right? Now, there's a long period of time before Star Trek 3 comes out, but the Star Trek comic is a monthly thing. So the characters, after Star Trek 2, go their separate ways, have their own adventures. Lots of actual shit happens to them. Then, Star Trek 3 happens, and we need them all back in one spot. Also, to the movie, nothing has happened to them. They're literally right back from where they were.
Right, it's a preset status quo kind of deal. Everyone, yeah, like you said, has to end up at this spot, so whatever happens between A and B doesn't matter anymore.
Right, but the comic book
But we can
writers
fill it.
have no idea what that spot is going to be until the movie is about to come out. So, like, they go on massive adventures. Like, their lives are changed completely, but the writing is so good that they actually go back to the status quo and have them right back where they should be. Not through, like, bad story contrivance, but, like, actual good writing. They just brought them back to where they needed to be so that when they write the comic for the movie still follows what the movie plot is.
Right, it's still writing in service of some ulterior goal rather than, letting them just progress.
Right, so Bleach, the manga, does not have the Bound arc. The Bound arc is anime filler. It's anime filler of like 60 episodes because it's a whole fucking arc. But
oh wow,
the thing is, the manga goes from the Soul Society arc to God, I don't know, I think the Aaron Carr arc or whatever. I don't know what it's called specifically. To Rising comes back. So we finish off the Soul Society arc our characters are hurt, they need recovery. So the bounty arc goes through, and it has to come back to the status quo. They're hurt at the end of the bounty arc and have exactly the same type of recovery that the manga would have them in at the end of the Soul Society arc to then start the new arc. It's brilliantly written, the characters are good. The only difference is that Bleach will now continue the characters of the filler in the
As
main
if
stuff.
it never happened.
No, they're there. They're still there. I was just watching it earlier, where the main bad guy of the bounty arc shows up in the manga arc to try and convince Ichigo how to use his Zanpakuto correctly and whatnot. The 3 characters that are introduced at the beginning of the bounty arc to help them detect bounce are still there throughout the whole series. It's not one of those you can skip it and everything will still make sense to you kind of things. No, I'm sorry. It is one of those things. You can you can skip the bounty arc, and you'll just find that there are now characters that you have no idea who the fuck they are, who will be there for the rest of the show. But they're not important because they weren't in the manga, and they're not given manga stuff, right? They'll be there. You just don't have to pay attention to them if you don't want to. It's
right.
Brilliantly written arc that you don't have to and shouldn't watch.
So what you're saying here is that no one should watch Overlord. Sorry, trying to tie it all back around.
No, I said it had nothing to do with Overlord, and you're like, I want to hear what you have to say. So I'm just saying that
There you go.
it's such brilliant writing that it takes care of itself. It's sort of the same argument of if Indiana Jones wasn't in the movies, everything would happen the same way. That the writing here is so good that you don't have to watch it.
That's kind of a weird statement in a vacuum right there.
What?
It's so good you don't have to watch it.
Yeah. It's so well written that it takes care of itself, right? Say
it's self-contained. I think that's what we were looking for.
Well, no, it's not. I just told you it's not self-contained. The characters introduced in it appear throughout the rest of the series. So it's not self-contained, because if you didn't watch it, you have no idea who the fuck these people are. But everything is still set back to the status quo. So literally, if I were to take control of your life, Griff, right? If I controlled the next year of your life, right? But did it all in such a way that at the end of me controlling your life that year, you'd be left in a position where you could not tell anything had changed.
So like any other year, basically.
That I could erase a year of your life, still have it happen, but leave you in such a state that it wouldn't matter. Is what I'm saying. That what I did was brilliant and so contrived, and, everything I did was of such immaculate writing that you didn't know it happened. It's the Futurama thing, right? God's position of if you do it good, if you do it right, they'll never know you did anything at all.
So there we have it. That's our review on Bleach, everyone.
No, my review of Bleach is it's an amazing series and you should be watching, like Funimation says.
Alright, but I think in that case, let's just go watch Overlord then.
I knew you were going to prompt me again.
I had to.
No, if you prompted me again, I would have launched into a different thing.
I had to escape.
Probably 24th Ward, if I'm going to be honest. It's my go-to. So many thoughts about 24th Ward that didn't get recorded.
Well, we'll just come back to it for another, 5-hour discussion.
Well, because there's just so many themes, right? So many themes in that show that just... Even if we spent in the hours that we did, right? because it's a 24-minute show and we ended like an hour and 20 minutes.
We legitimately have to start doing research to dive deeper. And that's why I still love it.
That's what I'm saying, is that there's so much there that even after every episode took an hour plus to record, there's still so much that just out of the blue, just this point, could still go back over. Because literally, just a fucking splash screen where we had words thrown up that were just themes of the show that we hadn't realized yet.
Right. Basically, the entire author's reading list.
Yeah, it's just so there. It's just also such a shame that it's a show that I wouldn't recommend.
Oh, no, that's a shame.
Well, it's like talking about John McCain during the war, right? John McCain during the war refused to be let go so that other prisoners of war would be let go in his place, right? All that shit, right? But I wouldn't suggest discussing it. It's very important. What he did was amazing. The man is a goddamn hero. Didn't get voted for president. I mean, I can see why. First time he ran, 100% agreed with everything he said. Second time he ran, he capitulated to the political process and changed his viewpoints on everything.
Man, it has been so long. I don't even remember what he was up about at those times. I'd have to go back and check again.
That's the thing. If you agreed with it, the point is, everything he said was agreeable, right? So I can't say you're a weirdo.
I know.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Me as the average American, I'm obviously not the average American either. It's hard to tell because half of the average American disagrees with itself. So,
hey, that makes you average.
Me as a more normal point of view than you, I think. I think if you polled people, what I believe in is closer to what the normal person believes in than to your anarchist point of view.
I exist to be an outlier in all data sets.
An outlier.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, I just mean that anarchy isn't a typical point of view that most people are going to get behind. I know you're not actually anarchy, but
anarchism would be more accurate. There you go.
Well, I think you're more like socialist anarchist. I was going to try and put it down because you obviously don't believe that, hey, we should all control ourselves and there should be no the only word that's going to mind is government, but obviously you disagree with the government, so there should be no rules.
No rules at all for anyone to follow, which of course isn't true, obviously.
Right, that's the George Carlin joke of, I believe you should do whatever you want. If you disagree with me, you should be able to kill me. But at the same time, I should be able to kill you.
Yeah. And obviously the way anarchism has been badmouthed over time is to say oh yeah, it'll be complete anarchy, no rules, people just start fires for whatever, and just no human being on the earth will ever do that.
Well, except that there have been groups that believed in that form of anarchy and did them. Specifically, I think we had a conversation before that I was using their example of it during the Cthulhu game. These were 1800s French anarchists. They specifically wrote books about it and everything. And that's what I was using to defend why my character was fucking insane. Because, this is what they were doing. Literally going through the sheets, shooting people, setting fires. Because they were just a group of anarchists. In the way that modern anarchy is depicted. But they actually existed in France, 1800s, late 1800s.
You're making a great argument. I'm going to go ahead and become anarchist pyro. How about it?
Well, it was very much, my thing is I would remember it a lot more back when we were playing Cthulhu.
Right, it's been ages since you read, it's fine.
Well, that's the way that information works in my brain, is it's very much of the moment, which is why I'm horrible in the discussions with actual merit. Because we'll sit down, and in my head, all I have is the very wispy remnants of what I know. And it's more so, I have the the impetus of what I know. I no longer have the facts of what I know.
It's in there, you just need the appropriate trigger for it.
Well, yeah, that's why any of our conversations of actual merit, last 5 minutes. Because I quickly get burnt out of, I don't have the facts, I don't remember the facts, I remember this is the way things are.
Yep.
And I don't want to research. Because I did it once. I know my stance. Because I did the research. But
I did it, and I'll be damned if I do work a second time.
Right. So, it's not like the uninformed opinion. It's just the amnesiac opinion, right? No, not the amnesiac.
No, I like it. I will use that.
No. What's the Alzheimer's? It's the Alzheimer's opinion. It's in there. You remember that you once had it. You can't remember exactly what it was, but you feel strongly that that was your opinion about it.
Right.
I think that's the Ricky Gervais, the show where he is constantly constantly considering suicide after his wife dies. Can't remember the name of the show, but there's a scene where he's constantly going to visit his dad, and he says, "I love you." He says, "You remember who I am?" No, but I remember that I love you. And that's enough. It's like, he doesn't remember that he's his son. The scene, like the moments before that, are like,
It sounds like a remarkably tragic scene nonetheless, though. But
yeah, because the scene before
such
it
is Alzheimer's.
him about talking to his mom about him drawing on the walls with crayons. And for Ricky's character, it's, you remember that? And for the dad, it just happened. Because his dad is remembering Alzheimer's, right? So, it's a touching moment because, hey, at least you remember it at some point, and we're still reliving the moment. And he's ready to leave, and it's like, I love you. Oh, it's like, you remember that I'm your son. I remember that I love you. And it's like, yeah, it's an amazing show. I would highly recommend watching it.
There you go. We just got to sell that later and put it on the list. Have people vote for it.
I mean, it would be our first
live action.
Yeah. By the way, when you're loaded up on Overlord, what do you see on the screen?
I see a wooden structure, the little temple that they made for their big meeting.
I'm just gonna do a quick screenshot. Specifically of two people's faces, because I'm sure it'll go by in like half a second when we start watching it. Because I don't know, I don't remember what's happening in this exact moment.
I forgot to shave. Oh.
But I want to know what these two are reacting to. Nobody else in the scene that they're in has this look on their face.
Oh, they're background animated, 100%. You're not supposed to look at them.
No, they're in the foreground. Literally, they are...
Or unfocused animated.
They are 30% of the screen. The dude standing behind them, no, Demi Lovato, you can tell from that, smiling, happy, fine. What's her name? The one he messed with her mind.
I don't remember.
Starts with an A. She's like the one second in command of NASA.
I need to remember.
Anyway, she's like resting bitch face. She's just
Yeah.
half unhappy. The vampire, just a line for the mouth. No real emotion to her eyes. She's glancing off other direction. Obviously, Hines, no emotion to his face. But these two are like, oh my god, what are we looking at?
Let's go ahead and keep an eye out for it. And
That's what I'm saying. It's going to happen within the first 5 seconds because that's what happens with what I load up. It's just no one's face is emoting what they're emoting right now.
All right. Are you ready?
Are you sure you don't want another hour? 20 minutes?
I'm sure. I
feel
I
like
need to focus my brain on a goal before I just die.
I feel like I'm just creating the situation where I'm not going to be able to talk during this episode.
Oh gosh, exactly. Let's give yourself some air then. Let's do this.
And that's why Red was an asshole through the whole series.
They ended off with this, I think, didn't they?
No.
So run down. You literally built it yesterday.
They've actually been building it for a while. You don't remember the whole hamburger brick episode?
Oh, yeah, I remember.
That was a while ago.
Your first Minecraft house is acceptable.
You know, those human-headed animals.
In its defense, it does have all the back support he needs.
Oh, here we go. This is the BDSM thing I was talking about.
Yup.
Be my chair. I mean, also in defense of Ain's decision here, that chair was really thin. I don't think Ain's could have fit in it. Why not
Sheltier's
me?
having too much fun.
Oh no, Sheltier's, why wasn't it me? Because you know she'd be into it too.
Oh, yeah.
But because of him, not because of herself.
Very good at hiding their emotions.
Well, you remember, Albedo's default personality is bitch. She got changed from bitch.
Whoops, knocked down a supporting wall.
Well, you shouldn't have said that.
As
Well, no.
Heinz immediately goes, I'm weirded out by this.
I mean, he immediately could have still stood up. Because she says, I take this as a reward. No, it has to be a punishment. As kinky as you can figure out Battle to be.
Lizard army, skeleton army.
Overlord. That's what we're back to, just saying what we see, I guess.
More lizard. Yeah, just quick, describe everything on screen.
The previous conversation we had about not saying the thing before you make your joke.
But you see, I'm not reading their lines now. I'm just saying what I see.
No, you're just literally
Observational
saying.
humor now.
Now you're just doing the crazy thing of, lizard, ha ha ha. Skeleton, ha ha ha.
I like lots of things, like cup and
Lamp. That was Anchorman, right?
Yeah.
Because my first thought was back to The Jerk. I don't know if you saw that movie or not.
I don't think so.
I don't need you. I don't need anything. Except for maybe this lamp. I don't need you. All I need is this lamp. And these keys. All I need is this lamp and these keys. And the towel. He's getting kicked out of his house. So he's just grabbing shit along the way.
Right, slowly accumulating more and more.
With his pants around his ankles.
So when's the next time we see the penguin?
I think next season, if I'm right.
So a good 12 episodes without penguin.
Is that his name? That's not his name!
They messed it up?
Well, did you not read it?
I skimmed it.
His name's not Conchitis. I don't remember there being an N in his name at all.
Perhaps everyone is wrong in the show.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, even the Overlord wiki says Cocytus. Cocytus.
So it was a transcriber error.
Yeah, they just wrote down Conchitis. There's the sex scene we described before.
Ah, yes, this is what we've really come to Overlord for. And now the kids suddenly have questions. Wait, who said the I'm so jealous line?
It sounded like a light voice, so it's probably the vampire. Because I can't imagine the two twins saying it. Yeah, same voice. It was the vampire.
Ah, there we go.
But specifically, these two don't have the same feelings. They're hundreds of years old.
Shoutier would be the wrong option here.
They say Aura and Mara, one of those anime tropes that they're hundreds of years old. So
They were waiting around for a while before the whole thing booted up, right?
no. I think that's something you said before too, but I said no. The benefit of never wearing pants. Like I said, my favorite of those, the leader group, dies first. So, always the way with me.
Yup, you're not allowed to have favorites. There he is.
It's about right that time. I mean, what is the point? It's like my God is watching me. Defeat these people who never had a chance. I mean, I don't think it's been specifically said yet, but they literally can't hurt him. One of them has the chance to, like, scrape him, and that's it.
Yup. I brought this bone and everything.
In fairness, if one of the chiefs did retreat, he would be the de facto leader after this fight. Because there would be only one chief left.
Adventuring party, go! Fight the raid boss.
Well, if that's an adventuring party, this must be second edition adventuring party. You don't keep this many people with you in third edition onwards. Alright, now to kill everyone who's not level 2 and above.
Turns out they all had one hit die.
I can imagine doing that in Ironclaw. Alright, I'm just going to immediately kill anybody who doesn't have combat save. Which is anybody who's not a major character. And my character.
Are you sure that's not a little bit too much for this?
There goes my favorite guy. Got chopped in half. Never saw him fight at all.
He just existed there to be cool character design.
Do appreciate the way they animated his eyes bugging out when the guy's arm cut off. I mean, his sword is literally the only weapon capable of scratching the Titus.
Mass Slight Cure. That's gonna be like 1 HP for everyone. But it regenerates the whole arm.
No, because they're all normal characters, these guys. So, I mean, that would have been like 60 HP healed or whatever. But the thing is, Kakaitis is like early D&D when they were static gods, right?
There's literally nothing they can do.
Well, it's the crazy people who are like, oh, they gave the god an HP, means we can kill it. Kakaitis is in that range, and these are the characters who... Oh, there goes your brother. These are the characters who are not statted up to try and kill the god today.
That's what the rest of the adventure is for.
Oh, right, not the brother. That was the other chieftain. Yeah, normal anime characters would have been not at all. You know, no harm, right? But not at all. How hard are you? Very much badly.
I took the bullet to the shoulder. That's a non-fatal wound, right?
I mean, to most people, bullet to the shoulder is, hey, I can get out of this fight if I just stop moving. And in fairness, bullet to the shoulder, stop moving also reduces the pain. Yeah, I very much feel Ironclaw Harmon is the Kakaitis model. Look, I'm here for the fight. If you two had something to say to each other before, go ahead. Because you're gonna be
wait,
dead.
I'm not so... I'll let you guys monologue.
Yeah, because you're gonna be dead once the fight starts, so... I might as well give you as much screen time as you're gonna get. Unfortunately, not something Harmon would say. Harmon fights 100% all the time, no matter what. That's what I'm talking about there. That they can't hurt him.
But they can make him a little chilly.
He's ice. Doesn't matter. You could not make him chilly. Fair. It's fair.
But you gotta dramatically scream.
Well, the scream is supposed to be an intimidation thing. Elegante. It's very much a 300 move, though. Sacrificed everything we had to scratch you.
Yeah.
But I mean, that works in 300 because it's like, he claims to be a god. We just scratched him. Proof he's not a god.
では聞け、全守護者たちよ。リザードマンの村の統治はコキュートスに一任する。コキュートスから支援要請があった場合は。
I guess like proves that I'm also wrong though. The way he's saying it like Cocutus.
あのリザードマン。
But someone said Cocytus at some point.
I'm hearing
Almost
Cocutus
certainly.
right now.
死体は回収して私のスキルによらない。
Which I mean, still makes you wrong too. You were doing Cocutus. I don't remember what you're saying. You were doing the U sound in the beginning.
I think if we do some level grinding, we can really catch them up. Some real power leveling, you know?
戦士の輝きとか言われてもな。
なるほど。もったいないか。リザードマンの村に代表となるもの。
I mean, the only flaw in the argument is we saw how good they are at the thing you're praising them for doing, and they failed.
よし、連れてくるのにどの程度の時間がかかる。お許しよ。そうおっしゃられると思い。
How long would it take to bring her here? Bro, you have the gate spell.
Casually use 9th level magic to increase your business meeting efficiency.
I can't remember where I was reading it before, but it's basically the idea of using a holodeck as a conference call.
It's basically what Zuckerberg thinks about the metaverse.
Right, but we're talking like 3D.
Yeah.
I think the idea was using nanites for it, just where I was thinking, or where I was reading, is that you have a nanite room that simulates the other room. So the other person walking around is embodied by nanites walking around the room that you're in.
At that point, we're just basically talking about augmented reality.
No, because this would be tactile. The body of nanites walking around, you could shake its hand, do everything physically. Yeah, I ain't your perv. I mean, literally, you put your hands on her.
Not have the anime reaction.
Well, I mean, he put his hand on her shoulder, stroking it, literally after watching her have sex. So, more evidence of Heinz the perv.
それを本当に信じるほど私は愚かではない。今お前の上に奇跡はある。しかしその奇跡がいつまでもあるとは限らない。この瞬間をつかめなければ全ては終わりだ。クルシュ、君にとって最も大切なのは何なのかな。
I feel like this is the problem of the GM talking to the player.
Yeah.
The GM wants something to happen. I have to guide you through conversation to make you say what I want you to say.
And the player's like, no, I just wanted to win.
Well, I mean, think about it, like, member of the party died, right? I want you, the player, to ask me to resurrect the other player. But I don't want you to know that's what I want you to do. How do I get you to say it?
I also love that Ainz pulled the classic, I'm going to do like this curse or instantly kill someone thing as soon as I sense betrayal. It's like, no, it's just all a lie. You don't know.
Falls right into the GM thing, right? GMs can make up shit. How do you know that I'm not going to make something up versus living up to the rules as written?
Head towards the light.
but I brought him back with a massive speech impediment. Ha ha ha! That's my joke on you. I get to laugh at this specifically because I've woken up in this position many times. At least 5 now.
With giant lich standing over you?
With massive speech impediment. And with a giant white lady standing over me, yes. Now, if this was a contract, I believe he'd have a way out. Because he did not say allegiance. He said allegiance. Although we did destroy your fish spawn area, which means they're going to be starving pretty soon. But what about my brother? Gonna have to nip this in the bud now. They asked me for one person, they keep asking me for everybody.
You gotta set limits at some point.
It's the Gurren Lagann rule, right? You just bring everybody back. We're gods now, right? No. Then we're gonna do this forever.
I'm reminded of that one Star Trek episode where Picard has to literally tell the entire town, it's like, we aren't gods. Literally, one of ours is about to die from the injury you gave them. We can't do shit.
Which didn't play out well, because then they tried to shoot him with an arrow to prove that he was a god.
Yep.
Ironically, though, I think the state of Federation medical science is enough that he could get shot with an arrow and survive.
Yep.
Picard is the dude who had
That's
literally...
exactly what happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Picard is literally the dude who had his heart destroyed. And they... still alive!
Yeah, I don't think they've ever covered precisely how far their medical technology goes. It really just comes down to, like, whatever the story needs it to, doesn't it?
It's covered a lot in the books.
Yeah, there's more time in the book.
Well, I mean, not like even specifically, from like an outside perspective, like the Star Trek Voyager books. Neelix will often make a comment of like, why don't you guys just do this? Your technology would let you. And they're like, you know?
No, we're not that good.
Well, it's like the concept of, you know, how it's a story mechanic that the, what's the thing? That
Transponder?
It's not a transponder. They have a name for it. And obviously, you can't remember either. Communicator. The communicator gets taken away. Right? Well, why don't... Neil literally says in one of the books, well, why don't you just, like, have it implanted under your skin? And it's like, Janeway literally thinks to herself, we literally could do that. That's not a problem.
I think that does tie into the Federation really doesn't want to do cybernetics.
They do it all the time. They literally have named after Dyson, a cybernetics division on Earth.
Oh, look, it's the next arc.
Yep.
They start on investigation and instead end up trying to solve all the crime in the city.
Alright, before we get back to Overlord, one last thing.
Okay.
As Star Trek concept. The transporter literally, you know, breaks people apart into matter and then builds them in. I'm not getting into the argument of, are you the same person who entered the transporter? I'm getting into it. The transporter memory banks memorize you at an subatomic level, actually. The transporter, with its bank of matter, could literally take somebody who's missing an arm and by the transportation process, give them a new arm based on its memory banks.
Mm-hmm. Or if you died, they could literally keep you in the buffer and create a new one.
Because apparently it must, its memory of your synapses, of all the firing neurons, must be in a state where your memories are also recorded.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least the process of whatever your memories are in
Because
chemical format.
yeah,
Yeah, so
frequently they'll end up on the teleporter pad and they'll stumble backwards because they still remember literally what happened to the last second.
right. So you would literally just need a thing. Oh God, the little conversation I had with Lessons Learned not too long ago about the ending of the season of Picard, in that they make a hologram of a person because they state that the ship was just recording them the whole time. One, personal freedoms aside, of having your deepest inner thoughts recorded by the computer at all times so that it can make a hologram of you.
Yep.
Who then knows your deepest thoughts. That's instant immortality right there, by the way. That you died, right? So the ship can create a hologram of you that is, for all intents and purposes, sentient, has all your last thoughts, who can then give permission to then use the transporter to give you a physical body again.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, there is not only a nullified concept of death, there is a continuation of sentience, of consciousness, because your original physical body died. The ship's computer gives you a hologram of your last moments of thought, so continuation of from death to immediate life again, to then the ability to transport you a body to give you physical presence. There's never a moment where you are no longer alive.
And here's where I'm going to say they've even done the body stuff already because the ships are sentient. There's no way that you could have a computer that perfectly interprets what's in someone's deepest, darkest mind and then presents it accurately on their interpretation without some ability for it to be thinking entirely on its own. The ship computer is more or less constrained by what people are telling it.
You remember the whole before the episode pointless writing thing I talked about before?
Yep.
I'm about to give that to you right now by both telling you why you're wrong and then finishing by telling you why you're right. You're wrong because the ships are more like Mass Effect. They're VIs, not AIs, in that they're heavily restrained and incapable of doing the thought process that AIs can do. That's where you're wrong. Where you're right is Star Trek Voyager. The Voyager itself is intelligent in that it is gel packs for neural relays. Basically the ship's computer is laid out like a brain. Now, it's not actually intelligent, but I would be willing to make the argument that if any ship had an AI and not a VI, it would be
Voyager.
Yeah, it would be the ship who's literally given brain cells.
Which also has, of course, the hologram character who is created or generated or managed by the ship computer. Therefore, they are
not technically
where their line is strange.
Not technically. Voyager does follow the whole holographic life is real life, because I don't remember. I think it's handled in the show, but also in the books. That there's that one episode where they're able to communicate with the Alpha Quadrant, and then there's the whole nexus of communication hubs thing where they're able to. Anyway, word of the Doctor gets to the Alpha Quadrant, and there's holographic life forms in the Alpha Quadrant who are then now start the debate: is holographic life actual life? And then start vying for their own rights as individuals. So it is a thought that comes up and is investigated. Could have been investigated more. And Picard,
in the writing of it, this is the Tachikoma problem, which comes up in Ghost of the Shell, where the Tachikoma talk to each other and go, humans have an easier time recognizing things as life when it looks like them, even when it's not intelligent, rather than recognizing intelligence that takes a different form. So, of course, people writing the show aren't going to write the ship to be intelligent unless they really thought about that ahead of time.
Well, I think the joke series handles that better.
hmm
I mean, it handles it as a joke, where they have an asylum of killer intelligences, because Star Trek is filled with them. So, but they have them like all locked away in one room, with like put into a pod, because the killer intelligences are always non-humanoid. They're like
hmm
probes, or here's the hard drive of the computer. That's all of that. But
Lore not to be found here.
I think it also speaks to not a lack of imagination, but a stasis of imagination, and that Star Trek is filled with technologies that can literally do miracles, but we have to perform a stasis so that our show isn't constantly changing all the time, so that we can do Star Trek and not Farscape, right?
Right, or else you end up with like Star Wars, where right, everything kind of stays the same, but we change up the designs every year.
Well, no, I mean more so that literally the Federation technology can do just about anything,
Yeah.
but if we allow them to explore the space, then we're not going to have a bridge crew wearing uniforms and going to the sitting room where we discuss things. We're going to be exploring God knows concepts every episode that's going to change not only the layout of the bridge, the layout of the crew, how the crew communicate with one another. Literally,
It's not really a show of discovery if there's nothing left to discover.
Well, no, it would be the concept of discovery of what it means to be human, and that's not the show that they tried to make. It's just a show that they made, and suddenly all this background stuff brings into question the very existence of man, instead of exploring what it means to be out in space.
Right.
They created a show that tips. They're like on the edge of a pyramid, right? Tipping on much more important matters in order to try and stay on this one concept. Whereas we have all these other shows that explore these other various things a lot better, because that's what they focused on and didn't create a universe of technology and possibility where it was possible to do these things. How about Overlord?
How about Overlord? Was waiting for the segue.
My greatest regret is that I would do a podcast or whatever, literally about the things that we were talking about before, to explore these overwhelming concepts, not only about the shows, but about what the meaning of it behind the shows, the concepts of exploring these greater facets of reality. But I know no one would fucking listen to it, and that's my
the sad
regret.
part.
Yeah, that this is the sit down in a room with a lava lamp, let's get high and talk about what it means to be a person at the molecular level, man. What happens?
Yeah.
What happens when our cells can think? Why can't? I mean, they're acting.
What happens when a lich sits down on a vampire?
I mean, cells are acting together with purpose already. What happens if they like gained consciousness and thought for themselves? Would we be even able to hold ourselves together, man?
Man. Yeah. But on Overlord, this episode kind of went by pretty quickly at the very least, right? It was about
actually
the fight.
took 24 minutes.
It took 24 minutes. The fight was supposed to be the central piece of it, but they spend a lot of time just waiting to get there, and it felt like intentional filler. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
it
it's
felt
just
like it
there to
happened
waste time.
pretty fast to me. It felt like the back half of the episode was the one that took a while to get through.
But at least the back half had something going on and was setting up like what everything is supposed to be like now. What's their new status quo?
Because they had to, because we got to the thing that we wanted to see.
Everything beforehand was, though, just the humor of the episode, I
I
suppose.
feel like we're talking about two different points. I'm
Maybe.
saying that the main point of the episode was like, okay, the width of my camera here. The width of my camera here is the 24 minutes of the episode. And I'm saying that the main part of the episode, start of the episode's here, main part of the episode for me, here, where the fight happened with Kakaitis. And it was Cutis, as it turns out to be. And I feel like you're saying the main part of the episode was the meeting with the white lizard when they do the resurrection, and we say how the lizards are going to be handled, which would be like over here. So I feel like we're saying that the impetus of the episode was at two different points.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is the fight is the important part, right? But it lasts a short time. But the introductory meeting takes up a large portion of the episode, I feel, right?
I didn't feel like that. Again,
Maybe.
I feel like...
Okay, I guess that's just
again,
different
span of the
perspectives, it's fine.
episode, introductory... I'm trying to turn my hand to the right way. Introductory part would have been like to here, right? And then we get to the fight, which is like from here to maybe here. And then talking... And then, I mean, that's like talking between Heinz and the rest of the crew, punishments, and then the layout of the building that we just made, and then what we're gonna do, and then, alright, bring in the white lizard. We're gonna talk about everything forwards, and that's this back half of the episode.
So I guess that's the episode right there.
Well, what I'm saying is that the middle part was the long part, and not the intro in the end.
Is there any details about it that stick out to you as like things that we want to look at for when we move forward into like the next season or anything?
I already told you the lizards come back next season.
Right. What would be important for you to remind us about to keep in mind?
Well, again, the lizards come back next season. And I've already gone on about what little change is made to them.
Just nothing happens. Got it.
Well, I mean, they're not important. At best, their knowledge of the area around them. But, again, it was supposed to be a test to see raising the dead of non-humanoids. Or non-humans, I guess, because they're humanoid.
Yeah. But basically, yeah, see if it works for the monsters. It's filler.
It's not filler, but it is filler. I mean, it's in the manga, but it's not filler, but it's filler.
It takes time, but doesn't advance the overarching plot in a necessary way.
It doesn't change anything. It's the Indiana Jones thing we mentioned before, that if they weren't in it, nothing would have changed for the rest of the series.
Yep. And then I guess that leaves us with next time, which is going to be where I think like the season actually kicks off and gets into a kind of bigger plot that does kind of matter for a while.
It's the disappointing bit of, I think the lizard part is the most fun part of this season. It's the part that doesn't matter. We're about to enter into what I find to be the more boring part of the season. I know you like it, but I find it to be the more boring part.
Well, I remember positive feelings about it.
Yeah, but again, you like it. It is the more boring part to me, and is the more important part to the story. So
there we have it. Next time, we get to suffer.
No, I do.
Well,
you don't.
You get to.
Yeah.
It's always suffering for you.
I mean, they're good episodes. Maybe the next 3 to 4 episodes are particularly good. And then,
it gets good 40 hours in, once it finally breaks your spirit.
Well, no, because we saw the preview here. The preview has to do with Sebas and that girl, which are particularly good episodes. I find them to be a step down from the lizard stuff. But they're important. They carry forwards. And after that becomes the slog of, hey, here's information dumps.
Right. So, well, we're going to have to sit through a whole bunch of information dumps, and hopefully at least the next episode is at least fun for you. We'll try. For right now, though, I think that's it for Overlord for today.
Yep.
I'm Griffin. That's
Yes, you
Theta.
are. Yeah, I am.
And we'll catch you next time.
Sure
everyone.
will.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?